in these floods. Let's hear from Boniface. Welcome to Property Focus.
Thank you, Peter.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm Boniface Karogo,
Yes.
Head of Business and Marketing for Keilot, Kenya.
Yes.
Before I came to Keilot, Kenya, I spent over a decade actually, in financial institutions and in the banking sector. But right now that I'm in green energy, I've realized this is where my heart is.
Okay.
And this is where I actually feel at home, contributing positively to this earth and giving back to Mother Earth.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. Now that's why we're here. Tell us about some of the solutions, how water interacts with buildings from your point of view.
Now, in Keilot, Kenya,
yes,
we have off-grid solutions for the less privileged and for dry areas. And we have technologies that directly deal with water. Example is the NUF,
yes,
which is the water filtration. Now what the NUF does is that it cleans any source of service water into pure drinking water.
yes,
It does the same it cleans also like swimming pool water, irrigation water, that irrigation water in greenhouses that can be recycled back for agriculture. And on the same theme, I think when it comes to buildings, that any water that has been trapped through the buildings and has been stored can be cleaned perfectly and go back to the process and be used for drinking. Because the membrane, the NUF membrane, filters that clean water. What they do is that they remove all parasites, bacteria, matter, total dissolved solids, parasites, and even viruses. And when they go through the membranes, they come out through the other side, pure drinking water.
From the flooding water, all flooding running water, which you're calling a runoff, gets into the membrane, comes out clean and crisp.
And pure drinking water. You can
drink it.
It's even better than some of the mineral waters we have in the market.
Really?
Yes,
How do you test
and use of no chemicals.
How do you test for that?
Well, testing there are two ways. One, technically, there is testing, water testing, that you take to a lab, the water to the lab, and you're tested for either impurities and components and nutrients of the water. Now, that is technically.
Okay.
Now, by your plain eyes, you can look at water and think it is clean, but it actually maybe has parasites and bacteria that are bad for human health. Because you know that sometimes water that is bad for human health affects pregnancies, it affects child development, it affects the human capital and the workforce that we have in this country. The way I would say is that the best way to test the water is through testing through a lab.
So what other products accompany the NUF products?
The NUF by itself is a full product by itself, because what happens is it takes the runoff water and uses, or even service water and uses the water. It purifies the whole water process using a membrane. A membrane is like this one.
Okay.
This is a membrane, the same membrane that is used in medical devices for the dialysis machine to purify blood.
Okay.
The same here inside it has the membranes and the filters where water will come in, is cleaned through the system and goes out as clean water. Yeah, pure drinking water.
Yes.
Now in this one, no chemical is used.
Okay.
This is a pure organic process.
So tell me, Boniface, other than the parasites and other chemicals and other diseases, is there anything else that goes through this pipe other than pure water?
Yes. And, actually, when it comes to chemicals and minerals, it does not remove.
Yes.
And it does not also remove the salt. What it does, it reduces the salt.
Okay.
Now, salt, because of its size, will pass through the membranes. Okay. So it's not a desalinator. It's a water purification system,
Water purification system.
not a desalinator.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Any advice you'd like to give our viewers about products such as these, or any remarks, closing remarks that you have?
Well, there are several, but the most important one is that we have a lot of water in this country. We have a lot of runoff water in this country. And the runoff water that we have in this country can be used and harnessed to give each and every Kenyan citizen clean water, free of diseases, and water that is acceptable. Now, all we need to do is use very small resources to get technologies and solutions like this one, which uses no chemical, for the betterment of humankind. And Kenyans deserve good water. Kenyans deserve good service, and deserve always having water, like the adequacy. The frequency of water should always be there. And we can harness that through the runoff water, through the boreholes, through dams, and all that can be cleaned through the NUF filtration machine to give you clean drinking water that will serve Kenyans for the next two or four generations to come.
Well, thank you very much, Boniface.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And there you have it. Never waste a good crisis, even in these floods. Now, you just heard from Boniface, and I hope you're more informed on what to do with your floody situations. Stay tuned. Thank you for being with us from the start of the show to the finish. It's been absolutely informative. And if you want more, or you want to chat more about this flooding menace, reach out to us on our social media handles on Property Focus on Facebook and Property_Focus_ on Instagram. And we'll be more than happy to just continue the conversations over there. This has been most amazing. Let's meet same time next week, same place. I've been your host, Peter Ngigi.